When it comes to keeping your leg muscles happy, healthy, and pain-free, doing a little bit of massage work can go a long way. And while many people opt for foam rolling, this guy right here might just be your new best friend, or your worst enemy. So let's talk about it and I'll show you how to do it. What's going on, everyone? Now, to be clear, there's nothing wrong with foam rolling, and I often do it as a part of a quick warm-up before a workout, and it's often a great starting point for many individuals, including my patients and athletes who want to improve and optimize their lower body mobility and tissue health, depending on their specific needs and desires. But it's often a bit tiring on the upper body to prop yourself up in a way that lets you roll your IT bands, your quads, and other muscles for any extended length of time. As well, many times people feel that they just need something a bit more focal and intense for these types of self-massage treatments. And for the record, before we dive into the meat and potatoes here, there are two quick things that I need to briefly mention. Number one, this is not a video on the scientific evidence of foam rolling or whether or not it's worth doing. There's a lot of people out there that argue back and forth about its effectiveness, and I can make an entirely different video on that altogether if you'd like. Just let me know in the comments. But as a general rule, I say that if you enjoy foam rolling, then I want to encourage you to go for it. And when it comes to performing some soft tissue treatment on yourself, it's often a very good way to start. But I'm making this particular barbell video in case you feel that you want to try something a bit more intense or less tiring on your upper body when performing. And this leads me to number two, that barbell sleeve rolling might be too aggressive for some individuals, especially those who haven't been overly active recently. So be mindful as you try this, and with this technique, discomfort is acceptable, but pain is not. And so what follows is intended for an otherwise healthy individual and a healthy set of legs. And as always, I'd encourage you to seek appropriate medical professional evaluation to determine if this technique is appropriate for you. And hey, real quick, if you are finding any part of this video to be useful, helpful, or informative, or anything else enjoyable for that matter, feel free to hit the like button. That means a lot to me, and feel free to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the other content that I'm putting out on this channel. All right, here comes the meat and potatoes. All you're gonna need for this is a barbell, and that's it. And while you may not have one at home, if you're someone who goes to a gym, you'll very likely have access to one there, making this a highly practical strategy to implement either before warming up or when cooling down after your workout. And of course, you can always continue to perform foam rolling or other techniques at home if you don't own a barbell. But in the gym, this can be a great strategy to use if you don't have a barbell at home. So here's how it works. You're going to think of the muscles in your leg as dough and the sleeve of the barbell as the rolling pin, and you're essentially a baker who's going to knead the dough. And for all of the muscle groups we're about to target, we want to knead the dough as if we're going to get the lumps and bumps out. Now, as you do all of this, you'll find that some spots are more tender or lumpy than others, which is pretty typical of the leg muscles. So the slower you go, the more effective all of this is likely to be. So don't try and speed up when you're rolling over a spot that's a bit more tender. Now, I like to start by placing the barbell sleeve on the front of my thigh and slowly rolling up and down. And this targets the quadriceps muscles, which often become tight and can lead to various types of knee pain and even hip discomfort. Next, I will roll the inside of my thighs, which targets the groin muscles, which are also called the adductor muscles. And this tends to be quite a tender area for me, so I'm always sure to go extra slow when doing this. And this also targets the inner quadriceps muscle, which is known as the vastus medialis. Lastly, I roll over the outer part of my thigh, which gets the IT band and the outer quadriceps muscle known as the vastus lateralis. And this is usually a great area to target if you have issues such as IT band syndrome or patellofemoral pain syndrome. But it's always good to get the front of the thigh, the inside of the thigh, and the outside of the thigh all together in one session. Generally speaking, I'll spend around 1 or 2 minutes on each part of the leg, but it all really depends on how things are feeling for me, and it'll depend on how things are feeling for you. And this little tissue mobilization usually helps to keep my knees and legs feeling much more prepared and happy before doing a lower body workout. And here's how you can target your calf muscles. Now, I will forewarn you that this can be quite intense, but again, it can be incredibly helpful for those who have generally tight calves or other issues such as plantar fasciitis. So grab a standard spring loading collar and toss it onto the barbell. And this will now serve as a little handle to roll the barbell sleeve. It's not necessary, however, it does make reaching back behind a bit easier. Then gently place the sleeve on the bulk of your calf muscle. Now, if this feels a bit too intense, pull up on the handle and it should lessen the discomfort. From there, roll the sleeve a bit and see what you come up with. And it's very likely that you'll feel the most extensive amount of discomfort in the area of the calf known as the musculotendinous junction, which is where the bulk of the calf muscles blend into the Achilles tendon. Now, this tends to be rather sensitive, and it's typically not worth going much lower than this area. And don't be surprised if any of this makes you a bit sore at first. You're giving your muscles and associated tissues a hefty massage here. And the more you routinely perform this technique, or foam rolling for that matter, then the less sensitive your muscles will likely be as you go through the technique, and the less soreness that you'll have afterwards. All right, everyone, keep looking after yourselves, keep looking after one another, keep making great things happen, and I will see you in the next video.